Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Black Moon Lilith conjunct one's natal Uranus. Now, when you have transits that involve the Black Moon Lilith, well, they can be expressed in the very negative manifestation of the planet or astrological energy it's contacting. Could be a formidable adversary, trauma, could be physical, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. It may even be a void in one's life. It could be suffering. Now, when you have this transit contacting or conjoining your natal Uranus, this could be the negative manifestation. Formidable adversary, even powerful enemy. It could be trauma. It could be a void. Maybe suffering. It could be in matters with one's friends, if it's in friendships, if it's in acquaintances, if it's in Capricorn. It could be where there may be some despondency in connection with this, or some kind of depression, or maybe strong limitations in friendships that one may have to endure. And also Uranus is connected with groups and clubs, and it might be something where there could be a situation where somebody might become an enemy in some group or team, or you may belong to. It might become a very powerful enemy or formidable adversary. It could be a situation too where there may be trauma that may occur from something unusual, or it could be an accident of some kind of situation that you completely didn't anticipate or expect. And this is also about Uranus is connected with the unorthodox and the unusual, and it could be somebody that might be a powerful enemy that might be somewhat eccentric, or might have some unusual or unorthodox manner in connection with him or her. And also too, there may be suffering that one may have to endure that might be tied into one's freedom and independence during this transit. And it might feel like it might be like more of an arduous task just trying to get that freedom at this time. It could be freedom from some kind of abuse, whether it might maybe physical, and might be emotional. Could even be, if it's Scorpio, it could be something on a strong psychological level. But some cases it might even be sexual abuse. If it falls in the fourth house, it could be from a prominent family member, somebody somebody that you were close to home with. Uranus is also connected with ingenuity. And the thing about this is it could be where we might see some, people, trying to use, their ingenuity, for all the wrong reasons. Or it could be, it doesn't necessarily mean you. It could be somebody that you might know. I mean, say, like that movie, what was it, with Val Kilmer, I forget the name of it, when he dropped when he gave the teacher the apple, and then the teacher dropped the apple in the garbage can, and the apple exploded. It could just be something where it's not necessarily overly harmful, but it could be certain things that are going on where people are using their quote-unquote ingenuity to cause harm. It might be, it could also be a situation when you look at Uranus, anatomically speaking. It's connected with the ankles, shins, calves, lower legs, and nerves. And having this transit, it could be, some cases, Black Moon Lilith is connected with trauma. It could be a strong injury with one of the things I just described. Black Moon Lilith could also reflect a void. Maybe there's something with the lower legs that are just not working the way they had been previously. It could be a situation too. I mean, electricity is connected with Uranus. Black Moon Lilith is associated with trauma. It's really important at this time, to be extra prudent, and especially if you're in an area where lightning is more prominent and prevalent, that you're taking your precautions when necessary. If you're working in a field where there's a greater propensity for getting electrocuted or some electric shock, if you're like an electrician, and make sure you're grounded properly during this time, especially, wearing whatever gloves you need to wear. It can also be, Uranus is associated with what's very erratic and sporadic, and it could be a time too where there might be some, situation, some instability that might be causing more exasperation, more suffering than usual. If it's in the zodiac sign Cancer or in the fourth house, it could be a home or domestic situation. The fifth house, it could be your love life. There might be something with that that's very erratic and sporadic. And also, Uranus is associated with computers, electronics, astrology. This could be the time where, you look at, Black Moon Lilith is connected with the negative manifestation of the energy that it's sitting, whatever sign it may be in. And the thing about this, though, is remember that the Black Moon Lilith, you could also embrace a higher power with it if you're able to surpass the negative that's associated with it. Now, it can be where, if you're willing to do so, it could be where you might be able to find some success or flourish in something with computers, electronics, or astrology. As an example, anything that could be Uranus related, it could be aerospace, rocket science, humanitarianism, innovation. But the thing is, and it's important just to try keep in mind not to be, causing any kind of trouble with, these kind of things with electronic devices, or doing something with computers. But it could also mean that you might be more susceptible to some kind of nefarious activity in connection with somebody sending you a virus to your computer, as an example. Now, and also Uranus is the future. And it might be a time where you might see your future as more dark than usual, and you might feel that you don't have one. And it's important not to be overly negative or pessimistic at this time. This transit does not last for a really incredibly long time, so it's something that will be passing relatively quick. So anyway. Now, another way this transit could manifest and be expressed, it could be nefarious activity that might involve some kind of group or club or organization you may belong to, or it could be connected with a friend. Say if this falls in Sagittarius, as an example, it could be something with publishing or immigration or advertising. It could be some kind of false advertising, maybe with some group. It might be a friend, somebody that was a former friend that may be doing this. They might have turned on you. It could be some religious group that maybe you're finding out something about them, that there was something corrupt with them that you didn't realize before. Now, it could be immigration, whether it's something that's illegal connected with immigration that you're finding out about, maybe from it could be a friend or acquaintance, perhaps in some cases. It might be to remember that Black Moon Lilith can also be associated with suppressed anger. So in some cases, this may manifest in suppressed anger that might be associated with what you feel you have in your future. It could be about moving forward. Let's say if this falls in Pisces in the 11th house, as an example, it could be some kind of Piscean goals or aspirations, and you might be encountering more obstacles and obstructions in order to attain them, whether it might be something with the metaphysical, which includes astrology, poetry, dancing, photography, chemistry, anesthesiology, as some examples. Now, this may also pan out, sadly, as the death of a friend or an acquaintance. Say if this falls in Capricorn, as an example, it could be a Capricorn sun, moon, or ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Capricorn characteristics. And maybe somebody that might be an innovator in business or dentistry, as another example. I want to say, keep in mind though that these, the fact that you're talking about this being a conjunction, that conjunctions in astrology can be neutral, they can be very intensifying and integrating, they could have positive and negative elements and aspects to them. A lot of this, how negative this might be, or somewhat positive even, can be predicated and dependent on other aspects this makes the points in your natal chart. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, now also too, the Black Moon Lilith can be associated with what may put one in a strong state of trepidation. And in this case, given it's you're talking about Uranus, it can be something with, it could be instability, disruption, maybe it's moving forward. Now, say if this falls in Aquarius in the third house as an example, it might be maybe some kind of friendship or something with internet or astrological, which is Aquarius. Communications, and communications, of course, could be the third house. And also, too, as far as physical trauma, there may be some suffering that one may be enduring due to issues. It could be Uranus related, something with the nerves, or it could be a shock or some kind of shocking sensation, which of course could be associated with the nerves. It could be being electrocuted in some isolated cases. Maybe there's some unusual protrusion or growth that one may be dealing with. Now, say if this falls in Gemini as an example, it might be some kind of shock sensation or nerve damage to the hands, the arms, the fingers, shoulders. Especially if you have a transit that might affect you physically like this, especially I would say if it falls in the first or sixth house in your natal chart. The first house, of course, is associated with the physical body. The sixth house could be connected with physical health debilitations, and I would say especially if this is making an inconjunct aspect from your to your ascendant from your sixth house. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay